Hi guys, it's Weedic. I'm here with a fun Encaustic project, and in this project really your tools and your medium are going to create your image for you. They're going to do most of the work. Now I used Tim Holtz Ideology tissue paper. It's an old one, it's been discontinued, but he does have some more out there that have that are on a sepia, that have a sepia print to them. I'm using, I used Yes paste to stick it down on a hardboard that I had gessoed with Encaustic, and now I'm just using oil pastels to go over it. And I meant to say, you don't have to use Yes paste. Gel medium is fine. So I used some oil pastels and I blended, and I'm going to add Pearlized powder in two different colors. I will have a list of all of these in my description. The Pearlized powders, they lose their shine when you put the wax medium on top of them, but what they do is they add just a little bit more depth to the project, because where you put the powder, it becomes more opaque. Okay, your substrate there becomes a little bit more opaque. You can't see the printing as well through it, and I'm just sporadically adding, truly not even thinking. I've got some pastels in greens, purples, and pinks, so I'll be using those. Please use whatever you have. Again, I'll list what I used. I did not fuss over this. I did not really think about the flowers ahead of time. My main concern when I did my flowers was simply to get some pastel down on the substrate. I really did not fuss over this at all. Now, here's where, right there, that downward swipe, what happens is it pulled that purple down, and that's how you use your tool to sort of create your flowers. Now I fussed a little bit there because I was like, oh man, even though I had planned to do that, I didn't really mean to pull it straight down. This is the second layer where I'm adding more pastel. In between applications of pastel, you do want to put the wax medium on, the encaustic medium, and that helps. It melts the pastel that you're using and it blends it. And watch right there, oh wow, that is gorgeous. It creates that flower for you. And so that's why I don't really fuss over trying to get my flower exactly right, because that wax medium is just going to melt it and move it and make it more dynamic, add movement and vitality to the painting. I absolutely love what it does. I'm trying not to wax poetic too much about it, but I end up doing 3 layers of pastel, 3 layers of wax. Every time you do the pastel, you add another layer of wax. Here I move it even just a little bit more, and these layers add depth to your piece. Now at this point I noticed I've moved some of the pigment a little too much, so I'm touching it up. I add a little more wax in those areas, and then I don't want too much wax on this. I don't want too much wax buildup. So when I feel like I'm getting too much wax buildup, I go ahead and I remove some of that wax using a paint scraper, a razor blade paint scraper, and it keeps the colors sharper and clearer when I do that. Now here comes the third layer of pastel, and really and truly what I want you to see, and I'm sorry my voice seems to be going, is that I'm not fussing. I'm really not. I don't have my flower planned. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do. My goal is strictly to get some oil pastel down. I am letting my encaustic medium melt the oil pastel for me. I'm letting it blend and move my flowers to make them appear to have some movement and to give a very soft, ethereal look to it. And then I'm going to let my heat gun further move my flowers. Now I had a hard time showing you how the heat gun does this, but you can see it on the stem of the big flower once I start doing it. It moved the flowers, but for whatever reason, the light was just right. It didn't show. And I am going to, I created this painting, and something like the beeswax in the encaustic medium and chewed on it and ruined it, so I melted it off, and so I'm recreating it, but I'm recreating it because I want to do a comparison with cold wax medium. I'm going to do this same thing. There we go. Oh, I love it. I love it. Look how it did that. That's gorgeous. Oh well. But I know that cold wax medium, obviously it's going to look very different, but I just wanted to do a side-by-side comparison, and since I lost this painting originally, I did think I would recreate it. Now, once you have gone over your oil pastel with your encaustic medium, it's not going to move anymore after that. It'll move with the initial application for that layer, but it won't move, so I can brush over it easily. Here you can see that I'm just trying to even it out and make sure that I have it fairly level. And if I see something, you know, that I go in and I touch it up at this point. I'm paying a little bit more attention to how level it is than I did in my previous layers. I also didn't really wait between layers when I did this particular project, and a lot of times they'll tell you you need to wait and let it all really solidify, and I didn't. Okay, and here I am. I put my wax on, and now I'm moving it a little bit more with my heat gun. This won't happen if you use a torch on your encaustic. It doesn't move it around quite the same way. So there, it did move my flower a little bit. I'm so sorry. It did move my flower a little bit, but it was hard to see. I think there's a glare or something there. But if you'll keep an eye on that stem, the green stem, what other color would it be? The stem on the big flower, you'll see it move, and that to me is just gorgeous. It doesn't happen right now. I think it happens in a few minutes, yeah. But again, at this point I'm paying a little bit more attention to not just the application of the wax, but melting it, getting an even layer as much as possible. And here I think is where you'll be able to see that stem just kind of, it moves. I'm waiting for it. This is silly. Come on, come on. My stem moves. It's really cool. There we go. There we go. That's it. And once you see it moving like that, you want to go ahead and pull the heat gun away if you've got the movement amount that you like. But again, letting the encaustic medium move your oil pastel, melt it, just gives it a really soft look and gives some movement to your piece. And then of course with the heat gun. Now I lost some footage, so I didn't lose it, I didn't record it. I don't know why I didn't hit record.
Okay,
So
guys, and this is where I have to make a small confession.
After.
I think I forgot to hit record on the very last step. What I don't think you see are two things. The first one is that I scraped down a little bit. I did not hit it with the heat tool after I scraped it down, but I used the my paint scraper tool to remove just some of the excess wax and to smooth it all out. And I took some time this time just making sure that it was kind of smooth and it was all level. The next thing that I did is I applied encaustic medium, okay, and literally in one hand I had the glitter, okay, and in the other hand I had my brush, and I put the wax down and I dropped the glitter into it. I did not hit this with the heat gun. I did not sink the glitter into the wax at all. That tends to dull the shine, and you know, the purpose of putting the glitter on there was to get this nice super shiny effect. The pieces that I used down here, I used 2 different types, and I pre-mixed them, so I really had them ready in my hand. So as soon as I put the wax down, and I only put the wax here, and then around the top, and I did a very thin layer and dropped and sprinkled as I went. So these are the 2 that I used, and it's just sort of a earthy pearly tone here, and then this one was it's more of the gold flakes. It's got some glitter in it. I really wasn't, if I'd paid any attention to that, I probably wouldn't have used this mix. I wanted just the pure mica flakes, not the micas and glitter, but it's okay. It worked out. So I used these 2, just a mix of them, and I pre-mixed them. And then for up here, I used shaved ice. Now my recommendation is, please use whatever you've got. Honestly, what this looks and feels like to me is if you've ever had the shredded tinsel to put in packages that's iridescent, and you just chopped it up. That's kind of what this looks like to me, and that's what it feels like too. I honestly expected something I wasn't thinking, and I thought it had more of the texture of the mica, but it doesn't. And it turned out to be pretty good. This is a mixed media piece. This is not a fine art piece. I would never do this kind of stuff on a fine art piece that I intended to sell or anything like that. But I cannot tell you how much joy having this on my shelf has given me. It is bright, it is reflective, it is sparkly, and a happy feeling. I absolutely love the way that using the heat gun and blowing and moving the pastel around softens up the flowers, and so I just love it. I really love this piece, and I thank you for being with me. I actually recreated this one because the original was lost to me when some critters chewed it, and 2, I want to do a comparison. I'm going to do the same piece in cold wax medium, and I want to see how they look on a side-by-side comparison. So I will do a video of me making this same kind of thing in cold wax medium, using cold wax medium, and then I'll do a video with comparing the 2. So anyway, that's it. I apologize. I really think I just did not turn the recorder on because I haven't deleted any video and it's not there. So I think I forgot, but it was the easiest step. It was the last step. Well, there were 2 steps, scraping it and adding this, and I think I've explained that. So if you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. I'm pretty good about answering them. I went through a time period where it was very hard for me to do anything, but I'm getting my studio back up and running, so I have the ability to play a little bit more. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.